Hi and welcome to the channel. My name is Drew, and in this channel we're going to be dedicating most of our time to using Debian. I'm a big believer in Debian. It is my distro of choice, and today we're going to be doing a minimal install of Debian Bullseye, one that we're going to use in future videos so that we can kind of build on that minimal install and install other Windows managers and desktop environments and so on. So let's get started. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go down to the advanced options, okay? And select it, and we're going to go also down using the arrow keys to the expert install. Now this particular ISO I'm going to put in the description. This is the one that I'm using will be in the description. In the description. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my language, which you can barely tell is English, and I'm going to hit enter for the United States. And once again, I'm configuring the locale as the United States, and I'm going to hit the tab key and hit continue. All right, so let's go down one. Using the arrow key, go down one to the configure keyboard. I am using American English as the key map, and I'm going to detect. Now, I should point out that this is an actual actual hardware. This is not a virtual install, virtual machine. So we're going to go and build, like I said, right off of this particular machine. I'm going to hit continue, and I'm going to load installer components. Now here I'm going to actually, I know which mirror that I want to choose, so I'm going to hit the space bar and use the tab key to go to continue and hit enter. In future, we may show how to detect which mirror you might want to choose. So I'm going to hit detect network hardware now. Wow, taking a little bit of a time, but you know, overall, this should be a pretty quick install. And we're going to configure the network by hitting enter and enter again. It shows that I have a wireless connection plus a wired Ethernet connection. I'm going to opt for the top one, the Ethernet connection, and hit OK. And then I'm going to auto configure by hitting yes. And continue again. All right, so I'm going to use Jag Linux as my host name. Stands for just a guy. That's me. And I'm going to tab over and hit continue. I'm also going to tab over and leave the domain name as home. You can remove it if you choose to. It won't do anything. Just hit continue. So I'm going to hit the choose mirror, and I'm going to the HTTP. And I am in the US, so I'm going to select that. It would be fine to leave it here, but I do know, like I said before, that the Atlanta mirrors are the ones that I am choosing because of how quick they are for me. So I'm going to hit continue now, and I'm going to continue again. So I'm going to set up users and password. Now, enabling shadow passwords, I think, is an important thing. You definitely want to. You don't want to show, like, if you were to do no in this case, you would kind of end up what Linux Mint Debian Edition has done. They allow you, they show asterisk where the password keystrokes would be, and then if you say shadow passwords, it will not. On Linux Mint Debian Edition, you can disable that feature, but you have to know what you're doing. So I'm going to say yes for sure here. Now, as root, you have to, if you do yes here, you have to install sudo after you've reboot the machine, after the installation, and you have to elevate the privilege of the user by adding, by editing the visudo file. You can skip that by just going no here. I don't necessarily need root access because my user account will be given sudo privileges. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to use my name, Drew, and I'm going to use a awful password. And I'm going to configure the clock and say yes. This is fine. You don't need to change this at all. I am in the Eastern time zone, so I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to go ahead and detect the disks. And I'm going to partition and not use the guided like here, but I am going to go down to manual. Okay. There's nothing wrong with using guided and setting, using the entire disk. Not one thing. I just am going to use zram swap after we install. So I'm going to hit manual here. Okay. And I'm going to go down to the hard drive that I'm using and hit enter. And I'm going to create a brand new or empty partition, I should say, and hit yes. And since this is a newer computer using UEFI install, I'm going to select GPT. I'm going to arrow down to the free space, and I'm going to hit enter so that I can create, enter again, my new partition. All right. And I don't need a big space, but I am going to go ahead and just use half a gigabyte. This is overkill, okay? I'm just going to use it as a, this is a test machine, and I'm not really that concerned with the partition. If I was to set this up, I would probably just use 300 megabytes, which is more than enough still, but I'm using a half a gig in this example. So I'm going to hit continue, and I'm going to put the new partition at the beginning, and I'm going to use it as, I'm going to change this. So I'm going to arrow down to the ext4 journaling file system and hit enter. Okay, and then I'm going to go down arrow and use the EFI system partition and hit enter. Notice that the flag is now, bootable flag is now on. And I'm done with this partition, so I'm going to hit done setting. And I'm going to go, as we go back to this partition disk manager, I'm going to go down arrow again and select all the rest of the free space. So I'm going to hit enter, create new partition. And like I said, I don't need to change anything because it's going to use all the rest of the space, and hit continue. All right. Now, again, if I wanted to, I could set up BTRFS here. I am just going to leave it as ext4. There's really no reason, and in maybe future videos we'll use BTRFS and set up time shift, but I'm not going to do that yet. I am going to just select the ext4. It is fast still, and then I am done setting up that partition. Okay, now and I'm not going to do is I'm not going to set up a swap, so because I'm going to do that after the fact, after the installation is over, and I'm going to hit finish, but it's going to bump back on me. Watch this. Okay, and it says, you do not have swap. Do you want to go back and create a swap? And the answer is no. So I'm good with just these two partitions, and I'm going to say yes to write the changes. And let's go ahead and install the base system. Now, one of the things that I like about Debian is, and like I said, it's stable. and it works for me. And one of the things that it works really well is like I have a network printer, a network scanner. There's something else too, but those two things in particular work flawlessly using Debian. Now, I would like Debian to be a rolling release. I'm going to hit enter here, by the way, so that it could stay more up to current, but I don't need to have it, so I'm going to hit generic here. Most YouTubers are using Arch, and with good reason. It's a fantastic operating system, and many of the Arch distros or Arch-based distros are phenomenal. Like I said, I just am really partial to Debian. And let's go ahead and configure the package manager. Like I said, I'm going to use a network mirror, and I am going to just hit enter and hit the Atlanta mirrors once again and hit continue. Oop, I hit the wrong button, and let's get continue. Now, it's asking about non-free software, and I am going to choose yes. Now, enable source repositories. For me, it's not that important, okay? So I'm going to just say no here. I'm not a developer, and I think one of the reasons why I don't need it is, if I was a developer, I might choose a different path. I'm going to go ahead and down to the backported software and hit spacebar to include that in my packages. Now, I may not need it, but it's better to have and not need it. So I'm going to hit continue. And let's go ahead, and what it's doing right now is it's actually going out and retrieving whatever changes there are in Bullseye and going and finding it, like right there. It's updating the kernel from 1.3 to 1.4, so 5.10.0.13 to 1.4. So it's changing, it's upgrading. So when we're done, we won't need to do an update. I'm going to select no automatic updates here. So as far as when I say installing firmware, this is an installation media that I will have listed in the description. This is the one that I am using. Do I want to participate in the popularity contest survey? No, done it before. And it's going to ask me if I want to install a desktop environment, and the answer is no for me. So if you want to install like something like Mate or something like that, then feel free. But we're going to be building off of a minimal install. So I'm just going to go and tab to continue and hit enter. So it should be really quick as far as the installation is concerned. Like, it's always blows me away how quickly you can install most Linux distributions. I have installed, let's put it this way, other Windows type oriented distributions in the past that take hours. And we're going to install the grub bootloader, and that should be it. Do I need to force grub installation? No. And we're going to hit finish. Right there, see, it would just for a brief second, it showed that it was installing sudo, which was kind of like I was talking about back several steps ago. And hit continue. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull the installation media out, even though I was not instructed to do so. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. I realize this is going to be small for most people, but I'm going to try to change that real quick as soon as I can log in. Okay, and I can log in using my name and password. All right, and now I'm going to hit, since I was able to, I was just going to show you sudo apt update just to show that the all packages are up to date. But what I'm going to do right now is make it a little bit bigger to see. So sudo dp kg and then reconfigure, and then I want to put console hyphen setup and UTF-8 yes, and then yes, and then I'm going to go arrow down to terminus, and I'm going to go to the largest one at the very bottom and hit OK, or just hit enter, and then I'm going to hit Control L, and that should be pretty good as far as being able to see what's going on the screen. All right, so I'm going to type in lsblk. All right, and there are just the two partitions. So what I'm going to do right now, though, is sudo apt install zram -tools, and yes, and I'm going to hit Control L again and just say lsblk. And notice that it did set up a swap that's only 256 megabytes. There is a better option. So what you want to do right now is go sudo nano etc default and zram swap. Okay. Now this is a 32 gigabyte of RAM on this machine. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncomment the algo and then remove and say zstd, and then I'm going to also uncomment the percent, and then I'm going to go to the end and say 25. Okay, Control O and hit enter to save, and then Control X, and then I'm going to hit Control L again. Okay, so what we just did by editing that zram swap is we said 25%, and this is a 32 gig of RAM on this machine, so it's going to give me an 8 gigabyte swap file. And we're going to show by doing a reboot and then showing, and then doing lsblk one more time to verify that. And there you go. The zram shows 8 gig of RAM as swap. Okay, so this is the end of the video, and we're going to go further with this in the next video by installing i3 gaps. All right, thanks. Bye.